Avinash.
Hi, Joe. Yes, I have logged in.
Sitting there right in front of you is Dr. Ami Bera.
Oh, hi, Ami.
You're in India?
Yeah, I'm in India, in Nashik, near Mumbai. Yeah, and we have a program in a hall where some students and citizens of Nashik, they have assembled. And just before the presentation on Apollo 11.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, India's got their own space program now.
Yeah, yeah. Tomorrow we are going to launch Chandrayaan 2.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Is that tomorrow?
Tomorrow afternoon.
I've had a chance to visit ISRO outside of Bangalore. So when I've been to India and visit some of the Lunar X Prize, the folks that were trying to do a lunar landing.
Yeah.
In India. Well, that's cool. That must have been fairly recently then. 2-3 years ago. Really? Oh, yeah. They were working on that? Yeah, they were working on the project you're going to be launching tomorrow, right?
The India lunar lander, is that the one launching tomorrow?
Yeah, we are going to launch Chandrayaan 2 with only the lunar module and the rover, which will be making experiments on the moon surface.
Okay, so it is going to land on the moon.
Yep, that's the one.
Okay,
that's cool. So, and Ami was just saying that he visited that area and talked to those people.
Well, no, I visited the folks that were competing for the Lunar X Prize. So that, I think that's the same company, and saw their version of the lander.
So welcome to all of you that are out there. We presently have 6 panelists. We don't have all our panelists logged in yet, but we have some of them. We have 9 what they call attendees. And so it's early in the morning here. I'm not sure where you all are. And depending upon the day and the time, of course. Now, Avinash, what time is it in India, Avi?
Yeah, it is now evening 7:33.
7:33 in the evening.
Yeah.
And that's what we're really trying to get across here, is that we can literally manage to speak around the world if you time it right. Because India, it happens to be almost exactly on the other side of the planet from where we are. So that's why he's a half an hour plus 12 hours ahead of us. So, and so it's fun stuff, really fun. So welcome to the program. We're going to basically do a bunch of presentations by a bunch of different folk, and this is sponsored, just so you know, by the Chapters Assembly of the National Space Society, and I'm the chair. My name is Joseph Bland. I'm out of Sacramento, and in fact, your first speaker is going to be Ami Bera, who is a congressman from the Sacramento area, District 7. So I get mixed up on all that. Sorry about that.
It doesn't matter.
And so, so that's what's going to happen. And after each presentation, there's going to be a question and answer series. So on the bottom of your screen, there should be a little button that says Q&A. And so if I click my Q&A, I see that there's actually already a post here, and it says from Chris Sterone, and it says, "Here you're fine." So this is a good thing. And you guys can't see it there, but I can see it here.
Right.
So this is actually a good spot for me to sit.
That works.
And because I can actually see the computer, touch the controls, read the questions. And then what we'll do is you'll just, each one of you, after you do your presentation, you'll be on, and then we'll have you do a relatively short Q&A. And then Avinash is going to be the last person. And if we have time, we'll do a Q&A for him, but he's kind of the frosting on the cake. You're the frosting on the cake, Avinash. So we may only get to lick the icing a little bit. I'm being a little facetious, I know. I'm being a little facetious.
I am afraid by the time my turn comes, maybe nobody would be there, neither on the screen nor in the hall.
That's okay.
Hello, Joe. Can you hear me now?
Oh, there's Larry. Okay, well, folks, I want to, with no more ado, I want to turn the floor over to Larry Ahearn, Vice President for Chapters for the National Space Society. You're on.
Okay, you already introduced me as Larry Ahearn. I said I just want to point out that we have dozens of chapters on 6 continents. And I'd like to see, I don't see the attendees here, but I see we've got at least 3 continents already represented. I'm not going to get into details on chapters itself, but I just want to give you a little story here, a little history. Apollo 11 galvanized the grassroots movement, and I want to concentrate on the National Space Institute, which was one of our precursor organizations, L5. After the Apollo landings in Washington, they thought it was a great idea that we would have a national dinner to celebrate the heroes. And then all the important people from industry, science, politics, entertainment, sports, they all came together, thousands of people for these annual dinners. When the Apollo program ended in '72, a small group of these people said, we need to keep the torch aflame. So they put together a book called Planning for a National Space Association. In 1974, that small group formed an organization called the National Space Institute with the president of Wernher von Braun. That is how the Apollo program impacted NSS. Apollo like that galvanized a lot of people at the national level in the United States. And what they did is these people were enthusiasts, and these were all important people. And at the same time, when the program ended in '72, they wanted to keep space in the forefront. They wanted to keep programs going. So they, Wernher von Braun was one of the driving forces behind that. So anyways, they put together a plan that they're going to start a organization. They were going to call it the National Space Association. They end up calling it the National Space Institute, formed in '74. Meanwhile, on the other hand, the average person on the street were forming clubs all over the country. And a professor at Princeton University named Gerard O'Neill wrote about the high frontier, establishing colonies in space. A number of these small clubs around the country were galvanized into doing something. And what they did is a small group met in Tucson, Arizona. They formed the L5 Society, and they were a chapter organization, something the National Space Institute did not have. And over the years, by 1987, it turns out it was a perfect merger with a chapter organization with a national organization. That's how we were formed. And L5 brought the chapters to the organization, and we've been expanding ever since. In 1988, I became vice president of chapters, and we reached our greatest extent with chapters, 138 at that time. And we're going to try to bring it back. We're also creating another offshoot that is when you have people that are only a single individual or 2 people, you need 3 to form a chapter. But if you only have 1 or 2 people, that doesn't mean you still can't do something to promote space. You can go out there and do a lot of things that a chapter does. You're not as effective because you don't have people with you. But the thing is that 1 or 2 people, these envoys or outposts, or I see Stu Backers, or ambassadors, are the people that are going to be spokespersons for the National Space Society in in any community in the world. Did that help you, Joe?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Larry. Good background. And as I just want to add one minor detail. This is a celebration, folks. And so at some point you need to get the champagne glasses ready. And because at the end of this, we're actually going to celebrate. We're going to pop the old champagne, pour champagne in the glasses here, and hoist it for everybody. So that's what we're going to do. I'm just letting you know ahead of time.